Welcome to Happily Ever AF, the comedy podcast where marriage and relationships get roasted and very likely toasted.
We are your hosts, Daniel and Maria. Each week we will dive headfirst into the crazy moments of marriage and the
We're going to cut because somebody forgot what to say.
Hi, duders. Okay. Take 3.
Welcome to Happily Ever AF, the comedy podcast where marriages and relationships get roasted and very likely toasted.
We are your hosts, Maria and Daniel. Each week we're going to dive headfirst into the hilarious highs and cringeworthy lows of marriage. Games will be played and we're all in it to have some fun.
So grab a drink, whether you're happily hitched or just here for some drama, and get settled in and ride with us in this beautiful chaos we call love.
Cheers. Cheers. Stink.
So welcome back. Sorry it's been a while. We've got a lot going on in our house right now, and
A lot of transitions, but for the greater good.
yes, and we'll keep you guys updated on everything that's going on in our lives. But we're going to start this one. We're starting this one off of our live we just did yesterday, where we talked about crazy relationships.
Yes, we talked about worst dating.
And it
moments.
kind of brought me back to what all relationships are the basis of. And I saw this somewhere on social media, and it said marriage is psychological.
What does that mean?
One person's psycho and one person's logical. Maria's very logical.
A little too logical.
So you know, we've always talked about how we complement each other pretty well, and you're the yin to my yang.
Yes.
Like, I'm your extrovert, as you like to call it.
My emotional support extrovert.
Emotionally
Great at a party, especially a work function.
So you know, we see all of that, and we see the yins and the yangs, and the good and the bad, and the crazy one in the relationship versus the logical one in the relationship. And so we talked about some dating horror stories, and now we're going to get into a little bit more of not just the horror stories, but like the ins and outs of the marriage and dating portion. So what do we have today? What are our topics?
Okay, so our topic is one plain and simple. It is horror stories from the dating world on Reddit.
That's the first thing we're going to
Yeah, that's the first thing we're going to go over.
I think you just read one of those.
I'm only going to read one.
Okay.
I'm going to read one that...
If you were watching our live, she read a bunch.
I did. I'm only going to read one. And this one I thought was freaking
and I will make
hilarious.
my commentary on it again, and then we'll talk about some other things that we're going to move on to.
Okay, this is the story from a Reddit user. Not her story, but she wrote this on behalf or unbeknownst to her cousin. So this is her cousin's little horror story. So the user says that she's going to tell the story until the day she dies. Mm-hmm. She and her cousin lived together at the time. She worked at a tanning salon, and she mentioned this guy Vaughn that was coming frequently. He would come in, happened to be hot, continually flirted with her. What do you think about the name Vaughn?
So I initially, when I heard the story, I asked if Vaughn was spelled Vaugn or Von, because just like John, it needs to have the H in there. I think I'm not a fan of the last name first names, so Vaughn, that's a little strike against you. I'm not going to call it a red flag because parents, it's on your parents, not you.
I was going to say it's not his fault.
And then, but you went tanning.
So I guess 2 weeks after the back and forth flirting, Vaughn decides to ask her out. She comes home, gets prettied up, and the cousin wishes her luck and tells her, please call me if you decide to stay over, because she doesn't know who this guy is.
Good cousin.
Yeah, great wing woman. Great wing woman. She ends up calling her about 5 hours later, hysterically bawling her eyes out. Can't understand a word that she says, and all the cousin can make out is, I'm at the hospital. My car is at blah, blah, blah address. Please go and get it, then come and pick me up.
Left turn. We just took a left turn on the dating.
We took a major left turn.
Let's see where this is going.
Major suspense now. So the boyfriend and the cousin go and get the car. They drop it off at their house. And the boyfriend decides, he's like, what the fuck is happening? So he decides he's going to go and pick up a couple of his buddies just in case they need to go kick some butt.
Back up, not a bad idea. I mean, I would have asked some questions about Vaughn as a man before I needed backup, but you never want to underestimate your opponent, so good cousin's boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, dude, great family all together, great boyfriend.
I'm digging the
like,
support
so,
system.
Such a great support system.
Good support system.
So they get to the hospital. She's outside shivering. A man is standing near her, but not beside her. He looks worried, and she looks like hell. She jumps into the car and screams, "Just drive." Me, being mad as fuck, stops and says to the guy, "Are you Vaughn?" He looks like he's going to cry at any seconds. He says, "Yes, please don't be mad. I brought her here. I had to, and she didn't want me to. Please let me explain." My cousin's in absolute hysterics at this point, punching the back of my seat. "Please go." I said, "I don't have the time to listen to you. She just wants to go home. I need to take care of her." They drive home. And on the way, the cousin is asking, "What the fuck happened? Did he hurt you? Do we need to call the cops?" Her response was, "No, please. Nothing like that happened. I'll tell you when I get home, not in front of other people."
Oh, she's embarrassed. Something bad happened.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So the cousin decided to leave it at that. Dying inside to know, they get home. She tucks her into bed, makes some tea, and tries to calm her down. Every time she tries to starts explaining, she buries her face and cries. Dun, dun, dun. Finally, she gets it out of her. After she left the house, she met him at his house. They talked, they had coffee, and he asked what she would like to do. She suggested a movie. This was before Netflix and chill. He says, "Okay, let's go to Blockbuster."
That's Blockbuster and Bone time frame.
A lot of-
you
yeah,
youngsters
that
might
was-
not know about
This
Blockbuster and
is
Bone.
like VHS cassette,
Maybe DVD.
maybe
DVD.
DVD. This is true.
Blu-rays getting a little, but definitely not Netflix and chill. This
Yes.
is Blockbuster and Bone.
I like that, Blockbuster and Bone. So they go to Blockbuster. This is where everything starts unraveling. They pick up a movie.
Well, does it say what the movie is?
No, they never talked about the movie. They pick their movie and head to the cashier. She says that she doesn't feel good all of a sudden and remembers waking up on the floor. So Vaughn tells her that she passed out and hit her head pretty hard on the counter. She says that he was begging her to go to the hospital right then and there. She said, "No, I'll be fine. Let's just go home and watch the movie." So he agrees. They get back to his place, and he keeps on asking if she's okay and if she would like to please change her mind and go to the hospital.
I like this guy.
I like this guy
I like
too.
Vaughn a lot right now.
So-
Make sure she's okay. Good
Yes,
job, buddy.
checking on her multiple times. She says no over and over. She says that she doesn't remember falling asleep, but she guessed that it's what happened because suddenly she wakes up urgently needing to shit and vomit.
Poop.
Poop. She has no idea the layout of his house. So she scrambles to the floor feeling dizzy again.
It's a concussion.
Gets down to her knees and start asking where the washroom is as she's crawling to try to find it. He tries to pick her up, but she said she couldn't hold it back at that point. She throws up all over his floor, all over him, and then shits her pants.
Oh, that reminds me of that TikTok that's going around right now. I haven't shit my pants as an adult yet. You haven't shit your pants as an adult yet. It happens to all of us.
So she started
Some
to
of us
cry.
more often than others.
So she started to cry, obviously. And she said that he was so concerned that he didn't even care what had taken place. So he took her to the bathroom to finish. And while they were making it to the bathroom, she said she pulled her pants down before she made it to the toilet. And her shit shot out like a parrot. And the shit got all over the walls.
Like a parrot, like...
I've never seen a parrot
I don't know what
shit.
she's
No
referring to
clue.
here, but I'm picturing like a shotgun blast of poo. Like
I'm pretty sure,
like
like
spackling, you know?
pretty
just-
sure there was some Jackson Pollock action going
Yeah,
on there.
like a good thud behind it, like
So, Vaughn being the amazing man he is,
Vaughn.
he decides
like
to
you.
gently close the door and says, "Pass me your clothes. I have something for you to wear." She agrees and
Ninja
does
Turtle
so.
t-shirt, Vaughn. You seem like a Ninja Turtle kind of guy.
She said she stopped vomiting and shitting and finally agreed to go to the hospital. He takes her there, and then shortly the cousin got the phone call. And while she's telling telling her cousin this, she's laughing so hard, crying, rubbing her head, and wondering if it's all a joke. No, because it was not. But in the end, this is the best part of the story. They ended up getting married.
Because Vaughn was a good dude.
Yes, he genuinely cared about her. And the cousin, being the cousin she is,
Vaughn saw past the poop, past the puke, and saw a beautiful soul. We love you, Vaughn.
the cousin does bring this up once a year. So I thought that's pretty fantastic. Great cousin, great family, great
Yeah, that's
story.
pretty good. That's a pretty good story.
It's a dating horror story gone not so wrong. Not the psychotic version, but definitely not something according to plan.
I think the only thing similar to that for us would be the year. Oh yeah, you remember that one?
Oh,
The
it wasn't a
first
date.
year-
It
no,
was not a
it was,
date.
No, it was a date. It was your birthday. We'd just moved to Napa. We went out to that. I'm not gonna name names. Winery to do dinner with the wine tasting, and you didn't finish all the wine because your stomach wasn't feeling well during dinner. I finished all the wine and her wine. My stomach wasn't feeling good after the dinner. You remember where this was? A little north of St. Helena.
Oh,
Now you remember that
yes.
dinner.
I totally
There's
forgot
something a little
about
off about the
that.
wine, and I kind of noticed it, but I didn't think anything
It
of
was
it.
a wine pairing dinner. I didn't make it past the second glass of wine.
Yeah, and I made it through all of them, and I finished hers because I was like, hey, I paid pretty good money for this. So I was finishing hers, and there was something a little off about that second wine, though.
Yeah.
And the first one.
No, for me it was a second. I couldn't
And-
even drink past 2 sips of it.
And the food was
Mediocre.
pedestrian.
Pedestrian.
It's my favorite thing to say about food. And because as somebody that likes good food and has worked in restaurants and loves menu dissecting, if I can't remember something off of your menu, that's called pedestrian. And that's like going to a Fridays or an Applebee's or a Chili's or
That's valid.
yeah. So it was pretty pedestrian food. But that was one I remember because it was our first birthday in Napa. I was trying to be all romantic, and we ended up in different bathrooms the rest of the
We
night.
did. Did not fare well. But there was no Jackson Pollock.
No, we're not going to talk about that.
That was your birthday.
We're not going to talk about that. We're not
That
gonna
might
talk
be a story for another night.
Yeah, I'm not ready to talk about that one. But no, I mean, horror stories dating, like I've heard of some pretty bad ones, and I know of some pretty ridiculous things that have gone on out there in the world, and I've done some pretty ridiculous things
Yeah.
out there in the world. But I don't really have any horror stories, and I think that's partially because I didn't really go on dates a lot until I got older. Like when I was young, I was just looking to hook up.
I only have the one horror story. I have nothing against people with Tourette's or disabilities at all.
The Tourette's guy.
So I did maybe like 5 internet dates.
Here's the thing about internet dating is if you actually get to the point where you're going to meet the person in person. And you have something that you should probably reveal to that person, like, hey,
So
that
it's not
photo of me
surprise.
is from 12 years ago and I've gained about 40 pounds. Or something along those lines of your dating profile. I was never a real fan of the internet dating.
Yeah, I did not last too long on that whole thing.
I met Maria in person, and it was kind of just sheer luck.
Yeah. So that date, he didn't tell me prior to meeting him that he had Tourette's, and it wasn't until we sat down to have dinner where he started cursing profusely. He eventually told me at the end, which I held my cool, again, nothing against people with Tourette's. And then I was like, you could have told me this ahead of time so I could like be mentally prepared. I would have gone out with him anyway. He's a really cool dude, but seriously blindsided me.
Really cool dude. That
Not,
sounds
not somebody I would have gone
promising.
out with, or more like friend zone. But he was a really nice guy.
So-
But I really wish he would have told me because that would have changed everything.
Now, I'd like to kind of segue into I don't know of a lot of dating horror stories personally in my life, but I am addicted to trash TV.
Oh, yes.
So Maria and I watch some shows, and if my sister-in-law is listening to this or watching this, Claudia, I need you to
Alana,
come on this
you know.
show, and we'll do a whole episode about 90 Day Fiance because I could, like, the Pillow Talk has nothing on us watching it together.
No, not at all.
Talking the crap that we talk. Pillow Talk can suck it. But yeah, 90 Day Fiance, we just finished The Last Resort.
I think there's like one episode left.
I've kind of dwindled off of
The OG 90
the OG 90 Day Fiance, the 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. I still watch every now and then. After the 90 days, every now and then. Happily Ever After, that's the one I like. and then like these resort things every once in a while. There's a few people.
This cast kind of sucked me in.
Yeah, the first season of The Last Resort I couldn't watch because there's one particular individual, and I will not name names.
There's a couple of
I can't
individuals.
stand the
Big Ed. You can name names. We're
All right, Big Ed, I'm not
Big
a fan,
Ed,
bro.
not
If
a fan.
You and I see in
that
the
guy
street,
is a gaslighting prick,
Nah.
and he's no,
if
heck
I see you in
no.
the street, I'll tell you I ain't cool with you, Big Ed.
Another one that was like cringeworthy is Colty.
Colty's cringeworthy. Colty's just cringeworthy because Colty's kind of just.
Colty's
cringe,
mom
just
really
cringe.
they needed to like cut the cord.
I've kind of learned to love my new favorite couple is kind of Gino and Jasmine. I'm not gonna lie. Like when Gino and Jasmine are your stable couple on the show.
Yes, in this show, they are the stable couple.
I love you, Gino. You're a G for multiple reasons. One, you don't want to take your hat off. You don't take your hat off. Number two, one of my favorite parts, this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen the whole season yet, this is my favorite part, is they're out in the middle of friggin' camping somewhere, and they did some hypnotherapy, and they're asking all the guys and the girls, like, oh, what'd you find out that's holding you back from your relationship moving forward? Would you like to share? And they're like, yeah, it's because I cheated, or it's because of this or that. And they get to Gino, and he's like the next to last guy or the last guy. They're like, Gino, did you find out what's bothering you with Jasmine? He's like, yep. They're like, do you want to share that? And he goes, nah. G. Because every single guy turned to him and was like, I could have said no. Granted, crazy sitting next to him,
Who
Jasmine, was like, his shit on me.
I thought
His shit on me
Jasmine.
now.
Jasmine's freaking crazy.
But Jasmine-
but she has come around over
She's
the
crazy,
last
but
couple
she
years.
makes valid points.
She
The
does make valid
problem with
points.
her and Gino isn't that they don't love each other, because they love each other.
They do love each other.
But they need to figure out what is the block on Gino sexually, and she needs to be a little more comforting when it comes to
Yes,
that, because
I
she's
agree.
just like sex, sex, sex. I want sex, which Jasmine, good on you, but Gino's obviously at a sensitive time with it, and he's not ready to discuss it. So maybe more in a one-on-one session, he could discuss it with you, and you guys can
They
figure
might
out
have tried that though. We
how to
don't
work
know.
around. I'm sure, but I just feel like Gino knows what's bothering him. He's just afraid to tell her. I don't know why.
Well,
if she
I'm
truly
sure
loves
she's
you,
belittled him so much.
she belittles him a lot, but he gaslights the fuck out of
He
her
does
too.
gaslight her. They're just not a. It's not
like-
a healthy relationship.
There's a yang
They
and a yang.
love each other.
They
It's
love
not
each other,
healthy.
and there's a yang and a yang. So it's like
Yes.
McDonald's arches, not the yin and the yang making a circle.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
But they're definitely of this. The Last Resort. They are the most stable couple of the group,
yeah.
which is crazy. Never thought that they would be stable.
I mean, there's a couple times where I was like, is this going to be the stable couple? No.
No,
Is this going to? No.
no.
Yeah.
And then Natalie, she is
That's-
fucking nuts. That girl.
her
needs
biggest
to-
issue is
She doesn't listen.
it's not even that she listens, but she's not
doesn't.
understanding.
She doesn't listen.
She's not understanding because it's the second you say something to her, she's like, "Are you insulting me? You're
You don't
insulting me."
even have to say anything
insulting
to
me.
her.
It's like-
She is so threatened by other women that are more beautiful or, more equally just attractive women in general that she has to put them down to make herself feel better. Because she clearly, there's not much upstairs. Her looks are kind
Again,
of
I don't know that there's
psychotic.
not much upstairs.
I don't think there's much upstairs. I don't think it's a language thing. She is so reactive that she doesn't stop to listen. She's ready to attack everybody.
Yeah, I could see that too. And the guy that she's with in the series isn't the
that
guy
guy
that she
is
started
a
90 Day Fiance
douchebag.
with. It's the
That
guy
guy
that she
is
met
such a
after she
douche.
left the guy that she was married to that got her over here. And so it's like, and then, I mean, I could go on 90 Day Fiance all day long, but
Yeah.
I think we've kind of covered enough of that. If you want some good trash TV, that's the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're also on to on HBO. Balin Out Loud. Balin, shout out
Balin,
Tourette's,
you're
more
amazing.
Tourette's. But Balin, we love you.
We are rooting
If
for
you
you
get
and your
to see
boyfriend.
this, you're way more popular than me on social media. But if you stumble across this little episode here, Balin, you are the reason I tell my dogs, "You're done," outside when they're going into the bathroom and they're not finishing. I go, "You're done," and I tell them to come in. Some of your phrases make me giggle and they make my day. So
Yeah.
I know that you struggle sometimes, and the physical pain, I can only imagine the physical pain that you go through. But as far as your verbal tics, they light up my day. Thank you.
Thank you for being you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're an amazing person and very resilient. So
And
huge
your
fans.
family's pretty great.
Yes.
And the boyfriend trying his hardest. He's got to figure some things out, but he's trying his hardest.
You're both young.
You guys are young.
Yeah, you got a whole life ahead of you.
You're gonna make mistakes.
Yes, absolutely.
But he's got your back. You got his. That's good. That's
Yep.
good. And then the Curious Case. We watched that whole Natalia Grace.
Yeah, that I was not a fan
we're
of.
not gonna talk about that.
No.
The Curious Case, but that show's kind of different. And then,
Yeah.
what's the other one we're watching on? I can't even remember.
So many. A lot of documentaries.
We like documentaries. We like ghost shows.
I love anything alien, ancient aliens, aliens.
We've already
in
talked about
Alaska.
ancient aliens before. We do love our ancient aliens. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much it. We hope that we could kind of be entertaining today, but we do have our favorite portion.
Yeah, it's
So because
our
today was
favorite
kind
portion.
about talking dating and that kind of thing, we went with Smash or Pass for dating movies or shows. So I don't know what she picked for me. She doesn't know what I picked for her. So this is how we should be
I
doing
think
it
this
from
might
now
have been
on.
more appropriate for our next episode, which are stories of how we met.
I think How We Met's going to be a different one. I think I have a good one for you.
Okay.
So
okay.
we're going to go with these ones here. So if you look up at the TV, we'll go to the first one. The first one is for Maria. This one's kind
Farm
of
boy.
appropriate for how this week's been treating me as her farm boy. As you wish. So Princess Bride, Wesley, also known as the Dread Pirate Robert. Spoiler alert, sorry. The Dread Pirate Roberts.
The
The Man in Black.
I'm gonna have to smash.
I don't blame you.
He's a sexy man.
And he can kill a lot of people. He's a hell of a fencer.
He's a swordsman.
All right, next one.
How to lose a guy in 10 days.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Kate
that's
Hudson?
yes. Kate Hudson is Addie. Do you remember this movie?
I do. Kroll the Warrior.
Purposely,
Kroll the Warrior King.
purposefully psychotic.
Yeah, no, I pass.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm
blame,
not even gonna-
Can't blame you there. You can't even like
Pride and Prejudice, Darcy.
Mr. Darcy. Oh, you are one. Sexy
I almost
man.
went to the other Mr. Darcy, but I know that Mr. Colin Firth
Is my Darcy.
is her Darcy. I know
1,000
this
times
movie
over.
is her
Yes, yes.
Darcy. So that's a smash.
I will
take
ardently love him forever.
it. Love, you hear that? Love.
Love Actually.
Love Actually. This
Natalie.
is the secretary, right?
Yes, yes.
She's kind of thick though.
Is she thick though? She doesn't look thick to me.
When she was in the office in the little pencil skirt, she was a little curvy, and
She's
even
curvy, but
even
is that thick? I thought they were fat shaming her. I did not think that was appropriate.
Well, at the time they were saying that she was thicker. Like, oh, you mean the thick girl? Yeah, I mean the thick girl, and I want thickness in my life. So smash. Okay, so this is from a movie we just watched called This Time Next Year. His name's Quinn in the movie. I don't know his name in real life, but in the movie he was a pretty great guy.
I love him from Emily in Paris. He could call me Cooper all he wants, and I would respond yes, and I would also smash.
All right. Next up for me.
Sandra Bullock in The Proposal.
Pass.
Why?
I think she's a nice enough person in real life. Sandy, love you.
Okay, so
Sandy, love
we're
you.
talking the character.
The
or
character. You were narcissistic. You deceived, lied, cheated, asked him to do illegal things for you, but in the end, you loved him. Pass.
What about her in real life?
No, great. She's great. Sandy, love you.
Okay.
All right, honey. This is from a movie called The Guru or The Love Guru.
I never found him
I
sexy.
don't remember his
So,
character's name.
I love this movie.
I don't remember the actor's name. I just remember the fact that you love this movie.
I love this movie. It's so fun. I thought it was a hilarious movie. I love
And
this movie.
So I'm gonna put him up there.
I would pass.
Okay.
He's not my cup of
All
tea,
right.
but this is a funny movie.
Look up The Guru from 2003 with
Not
what's her name?
The Love Guru.
What's her
not,
name? The chick from The Hangover, the stripper girl.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
her name
anyways,
right
her. Good movie,
now.
funny
Do not
movie.
look up The Love Guru.
Don't watch the
because
one with Mike Myers. Watch the
yeah,
one with this
not
guy.
Mike Myers.
He's your leading actor. He's great. Next up for me. Oh, dear Lord. So from 90 Day Fiance, ladies and gentlemen, this is the crazy one we
She
were
is
just talking about.
crazy.
Look in her eyes.
It says it all.
Look closely
smile,
in
the
her
eyes.
eyes. She looks like she's gonna murder kittens.
She has that
No.
like possessed look.
Pass. This is Dermot
Wedding
Mulroney from a
Date.
movie called The Wedding Date, where he is a gigolo hired to be a date for a woman at a wedding to avoid her ex.
So the storyline has some problems, clearly.
He's a male prostitute.
But he's a sexy motherfucker. So I'm going to smash his little heart out.
Are you now?
I am. So you get Sharon Stone in her most
Oddly
psychotic.
enough-
One of her most psychotic. That's her
Oddly
pretty
enough,
psychotic
I've never
role.
found Sharon Stone that. I mean, I think she's beautiful, but I've never found her attractive. And I never got the, oh my God, she's not wearing one. Okay, great. I never got the obsession with this woman, and I'm not about psycho women, so.
I
good, pass.
solely went for the psycho woman since we were talking about toxic relationships.
That's it.
That is it.
That's it. So we're done with Smash or Pass. Most of mine were passes. Obviously, someone was a lot nicer than someone else. But thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Thanks for
Yes.
taking the time to listen. If you're listening, we're going to get some more stuff going, and we'll have some big news coming your way very soon.
Yes, we're super excited.
The background may be changing. Tiddlywink, but we will.
Tiddlywink. Tiddlywink, tiddlywink.
You've never seen?
No. What? What movie was it?
That's Wayne's World. Tiddlywink.
No, but did they say tiddlywink? Oh my God, I never realized that.
Shwing. All right, so that's it for today. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. As always, come on back. We don't have anything good to tell you at the end of the day. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the followers. We're up to 3,000 followers plus on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hopefully we can get our YouTube followers
let's go,
up.
guys. Come on, let's get this thing rolling. If you know.
And don't forget to download our episodes on either Apple, Amazon,
Spotify.
Spotify,
What's the other one?
podcast. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. So our podcast is out there. It's Happily Ever AF
Yeah.
podcast.
Video
and you
is
should
on
know that because you're
YouTube.
watching it. Videos on YouTube.
Yep.
We also have an Instagram. We don't have a Facebook, but we do have a
Yeah,
TikTok. Our
I don't
TikTok
like
is
Facebook.
where I post a lot of our stuff, and I'm going to be going live more often. So
Yeah, we're probably actually going to go live after this episode.
We'll see.
But you won't know that.
all right.